Hi guys, this is Swagatika. Welcome back to my channel. So this is my second series of ETL testing. So today I am going to provide something different, like I will provide some prior steps and documents required for test case design in ETL testing. On my last video I have already provided what is ETL and what is the ETL process, the end-to-end flow, and also I have provided few basic scenarios that most commonly scenarios that we need to validate. So those things I have covered the last video. So today I'm going to provide the best tips in ETL testing. What are the basic steps that we need to follow for creating the test cases so that we can prepare the effective test cases. So let's start, guys. So here first point I have mentioned, like what are the key documents required for a tester in ETL process. So I have mentioned 2 points here. One is ETL mapping sheet and one more is DB schema of source and target. So these two documents actually required for ETL testing. But as we know, for our testing, like manual test cases design, we have methods such as decision table, equivalence partitioning, boundary value analysis, so etc. We are using those kind of method in for manual testing, but ETL testing is a little bit different. So it mostly refer to huge volume of data and it will apply different tools and usually against one database. So to design an ETL test cases, we should know what is ETL and understand the data information, means data transformation requirements. That is the first point. We have to understand the transformation requirement. So because of that, actually my first session I have just given the ETL introduction and process, and also I have introduced the mapping document which is required to understand the transformation requirement. So that I have shown my first video, but this time I thought I will give some example and I will give some more clear visible for the mapping document and how we will go through the mapping document during our test case design. So first, what is mapping document? So an ETL mapping sheet contain all the information like source and destination table, including each and every column, their lookup in reference table, everything. So lookup, here I just mentioned one is lookup. Lookup table nothing but like that reference table we can tell like lookup table. It is nothing but like it's a like joiner table. Like we want some information, some a country code, if something details, so we can join with some table, that reference table, to get that information. So I can say like it is just similar to join. Like it basically in join we try to fetch information from two or more tables. Like joiner, some joiner condition will be there to join that table to get the information. Similarly for lookup also we should join that lookup table and we can get some information. Only the difference is joiners tables are coming in the first flow itself, means initially the source system, but lookup is not the part of the source system. It is coming middle of the workflow. That's why it is called lookup. Why it is coming middle of the workflow? Because that always need to be updated with the regular information, new information. So regularly that should be updated. That's why it will be always in the middle of the workflow. It won't come with the source system. That's the difference lookup. So that's why I just want to show you one mapping sheet. So here I have given one example of mapping sheet where I will explain everything. I think it will be easy for you to understand how will the mapping sheet. So you can see source system table name. I have given employee and source system column name, and target system table name employee T1, and target column names also I have given, and source data type and target data type. So we have to validate the tables, source tables, with these details. It should be created with this definition, like this data type and this column name. So those validation like structure validation. So this kind of things we have to refer mapping document during our validation and during our test case design also. And one more thing I have mentioned here, you can see everything I have mentioned direct map, like employee name and employee ID, direct map I have given. But department ID here I just given like lookup with department table. So with the column of department ID. So this is the lookup table. So I think you people can get the clear image of lookup table. So department ID is having in the employee table we have one column like department ID, but we want department name, and that name is available in the lookup table. Which lookup table? Like department lookup table. So we will join that table with the department ID and we will fetch the department name, and that will be loaded in the target table. So during our test cases design, we can prepare the SQL statement including this joining condition. So that's why I would like to say like an ETL tester need to be comfortable with SQL queries. As ETL testing involves many queries, like means we have to write many big queries with multiple joins to validate data from stage to stage. That will be required, that will be mandatory. So one ETL tester definitely she should have good in SQL. And that ETL mapping sheet provide a significant help while writing query. So during writing query, we refer the mapping document and we will be ready with the test data before our execution. So here the second documents I have mentioned like DB schema of source and target. So this is the second key document for our test cases design. So this is nothing but the visual representation of an enterprise's data elements and the connection between them. And it can be defined as a set of instructions that defines how the structure and contents in a source system would be transferred and stored in the target system. I mean, it can be represent the total end-to-end flow and the joiner table details and that key columns, reference columns, all those details would be mentioned in this document, so that we can verify with the mapping document. So we can see like source table schema names will be mentioned here and target table schema also mentioned here. So we have to verify with the mapping document whether that is matching with the mapping document. So that's the second document that we have to verify before our test cases design. So here guys, I would like to say that as we know in ETL our source data is coming through different layers. So we need to do data validation in each layer, whether there is in data leakage or data discrepancy happened between source to target system. That's why we need to ready with our test case design for each layer or for each stages and with our SQL statement also. As we know our data flow is like source system to staging, then staging to landing nothing but the target system. So we need to prepare two set of test cases. One is test cases for source system to staging area. Second is test cases for staging to target area. So during our test case design, we need to ready with our SQL query for data validations. There won't be any transformation between source system and the staging data. Staging always is the mirror of the source system, but during our data validation, we cannot perform minus query between staging to source, as these two are in different databases. So source and staging always be in different databases. Source may be files or maybe database, like source may be in Sybase database, then suppose staging is in the Oracle database. So we cannot perform minus query between Sybase and Oracle. So what we need to do? We can download the source dataset and insert into the Oracle database in a temp table. Then we can perform minus query between the source and staging. So actually minus query we usually use for the data validation. So that will be easy to do the data validation. That's why in ETL maximum project you can see we usually use the minus query for the data validation. So here as I said, like staging and source will be in different databases. So we need to download and insert into the Oracle. Then we do the data validation as using the minus query. But staging and target always be in a same database. So that's why we can perform minus query directly to compare data between them. So we need to prepare SQL minus query to validate staging data with the target data during our test cases design. So these are the prior steps we need to follow before our test cases design. So today we discuss the best tips for our test cases design in ETL testing. So what we discussed? So we discussed usually we will need to perform the following 3 steps prior to our ETL test cases creation. So analyze the requirement, understanding the data model, so list out the source and target, analysis the data workflow, deeply go through the ETL mapping to understand the ETL transformation rule. And that's all, guys. I hope my tips will be helpful for you to prepare the test cases in your project. So next video, I will try to come with some common test cases that can be prepared in all the ETL testing project. So that's all, guys. See you in my next video. Till then, bye bye. Thank you.